Honest Beers.
Welcome to Honest Beers. My name is Leggy, and as always, I'm joined by Walley. How are you, mate?
Very well, mate. Very well. Happy to be here. Very excited.
Yeah, look, we're excited to be here because we've got another guest on, but I think a lot of the audience will be happy that we don't have a footy guest because we had a lot of footy media. We've got past players on, we've got current players.
It's footy season.
It's footy season, but we've also got Matt Short on. Matt, welcome to Honest Beers for the first time. It's good to have another cricketer on like ourselves.
Thanks, lads. Yeah, keen to talk a bit of cricket, but yeah.
And everything else.
Footy as well.
Well, footy as well. We will get into footy, but we always ask a very, very tough question off the top. Now, we're cricket fans on this podcast. We both played together.
Mm-hmm.
You said you've done some media before, but are you starstruck being in the presence of the local cricket skipper from the Grubs being in front of you right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm blushing a little bit now.
I get that, yeah.
Nice to meet a familiar face.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Wally, maybe you could provide some of this. So, we all know Matt's captain of the Strikers in the BBL, and has been an unbelievable performer in the BBL the last 2 years. But have you got any advice as a local cricket skipper? Is there anything that Matt's done that you feel like you could help him with?
No, look, I think that you're probably a little too professional for me. The warm-ups, you can cut them in half.
Yes, yeah.
The warm-ups and the... I'll tell you what I would like, Simon. I've always said this. I would love us to have our own set of, warm-up kits.
Yep.
I've always been jealous once you get to that level, that state and national level where you got the warm-up kits. But look, mate, I mean, most of my advice is kind of the opposite. My advice is usually given to avoid playing, that's the last thing you want.
Yes.
Being a professional cricketer, you want to be playing.
You want to play.
And just trying to, and I don't think you guys don't have to you wouldn't have square leg umpiring duties or having to look at the scorebook. So most of my stuff is trying to avoid that. I will, and of course, how to watch the races on field, which I haven't seen anyone do in the Big Bash.
No, that's
no one's watching Moonee Valley Friday nights on their phone in slips.
Well, that's a bit of a before. Like that was a Mark War days. They used to be across the racing when they were in the change rooms.
I'll tell you what, I'll say this. Okay. If they had phones that you could watch the races on back when Mark was playing,
I think they would have watched
every chance he is watching his horses go around in the slips.
So you've got no advice for him at all?
No, but all my advice, let's be honest, if any of my advice, and we're just ticking through the list there, it's all pretty bad advice.
Yep.
It's basically, here's how you go out the night before and wreck yourself. Here's some tricks in forcing the opposition captain to call it early so we can go to the pub. This is how you avoid having to umpire at square leg and work the scorebook. And this is how you get through watching races in the slips. I mean, it's all pretty bad advice. I will say this. You would never have to prepare your own tea spread anymore, would you? That would all be done for you.
Not at all. Maybe a couple of times through COVID where, we couldn't get the chefs in, but...
really? The chefs.
The chefs? So what did you do?
That's the other thing is that I'm big on the spread, but we have to do our own. That would be heaven.
What do you mean? So what did you do?
Probably more so through training, where, they might have had a little caterer come in for you and, the sandwiches and the fruit platters and whatnot. But no, we had to bring in our own sort of... milks and shakes and muesli bars and that.
And have your name on it as well, so that no one touched it because of all the COVID.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That was a must. You had to chuck your name on everything. Otherwise, you share the fridge and the boys just go hell for leather and grab whatever's in there.
I've got to ask too, because before you jump in, I was just going to say, what are you doing when you're batting? Right, you're either out or you're about to come in. What are you actually doing in the change, or like when you're watching? Because are you one of those guys that's zeroing in on this bowler's doing that, or are you just kind of kicking back and just having a yarn and having a laugh?
No, I'm very relaxed kind of guy. You got your guys that are padded up and down in the rooms, watching every ball on the TV and watching what the bowler's doing, the conditions. But I'm normally up in the viewing box and probably talking footy or talking something other than what's going on in the game. So I like to keep it pretty chilled.
Nice. Well, while we're talking about, because we spoke about the tea spread, we won't get into. We will get into it a bit. So, because I was going to ask this a bit later when we got settled, but now's as good a time as any. Talk to me about the spreads. I've always been you wouldn't read it. I've always been fascinated by the spread. A, because I like food, obviously, but B, it's also because we took, it was the one thing at our local level, apart from winning flags, of course, Simon. The one thing that we took seriously was the spread. So we'd actually put a bit of it. Well, half of us would put effort in, and then the other half would just bring nothing. And that's fine. That's enough at local level. Two questions for me is, one, what can you expect with the spreads? And two, where's the best spread you've had? So give us just a regular. You're just playing it. You're playing a game in the Junction. You're playing a game at Adelaide Oval. You're playing a game somewhere. They're going to bring out lunch or tea. What's the sort of thing we can expect? And then I want to know where the very best you've had is.
No, we get very well looked after. With the I'll say the lunches. I'll start at the Junction. There's a big difference from the lunch spread to the tea spread.
Okay.
A very big difference. So, I might be playing a 4-day game there. So each day is different. Each menu is different on each day.
That's good.
It's like your buffet kind of style. So you might have your meatballs and spaghetti.
Yep.
There's always a salad bar and sandwich bar every day. But some days you might have like a curry or a chicken breast and it changes every day. But then you come to tea, so shorter break and the caterer comes in and there might be 11, 12 blokes plus a couple of coaches and staff, and you might get a tiny little platter of sushi or cheese and dip and stuff, or like some carrots and celery.
So your tea is like our tea.
That's not.
It's very
not too
similar.
dissimilar.
Can I ask a question? Because I cast mine. I think about the people that make up our local team, and less with us at our team, and more the grubs. And I think of someone like a Flanners.
Yeah.
Spaghetti and meatballs would be diabolical in our world.
So would a curry.
Do they go? Do the white? Do you guys take the whites off and put a t-shirt on, or is there people?
Nah.
I mean, that is surely something.
all over the whites.
If you have 11 or 22 blokes in whites eating spaghetti and meatballs, someone's getting sauce.
I would have thought
on their top.
I think I'm one that as soon as it's tea, you walk off straight to the lunch room. I don't go into the change room, get changed.
Love it.
I've been out in the field for 2 hours, 2.5 hours sometimes. I'm straight getting some food. So, no, I'm full whited up. You're pretty filthy anyway, so
That's true.
You're just gonna get crap all over you. So you may as well keep going.
Any interesting issues with the curries and maybe sort of following through or anything like that, or normally okay?
Nah, they normally keep the spice level to a minimal.
Yeah, that's good. And look, that is very good. Look, we do need to speak, unless you have anything else.
I was going to say, is there?
I didn't see you looking at me. I'm like, we could talk about serious cricket stuff, but let's
not.
not.
I'll say this: is there a venue in Australia or overseas that do it better than anyone else in terms of a spread?
I think everyone loves coming to the MCG.
I've heard that.
There's one guy in there, Jimmy. He's been the chef there since I've been there, so probably 8+ years. But you get your prawns, you get your little steak medallions, you get this is all in one day as well. Like there's a whole range of options.
Jesus.
Like lamb skewers and everything like that. So I think everyone loves coming to the G. But I think the best meal is the plum chicken at Adelaide Oval. That's like just the famous plum chicken.
I love it
at Adelaide.
Does that become a thing that in the change rooms you guys talk about? You're like, we're going over here to play the Redbacks, but we're going to get the plum chicken.
Yeah, every trip. Yeah,
really.
We're heading to Adelaide. We know what we're getting for lunch. They normally do it most days. So
well, it's probably a little bit like when they used to play us. They knew that they were going to get.
They're going to get the honey soy wings with the hoisin drizzle,
plus the homemade sausage rolls.
Homemade sausage roll.
yeah. We
maybe some bao from the G train as well.
Yeah.
Well, but bottom line, there is no way that you thought maybe be this into it. Is there? You thought, fuck, Wally's going to go and ask him about food, and it's just going to be boring.
This is good.
This is gold. I love this. Now I know the signature dish of Adelaide Oval, and we know it's good. I love that the G is just overall the best because it just makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm right with that.
Can you, going back a bit, can you remember your first game or match at the G? What happened? How you felt? The nerves? I know that there's not...
On the field now we're talking about.
Not about the...
We can move on from the field.
What's the spread going to be like? No, but like, regardless of Sheffield Shield and whether there were many people there or not, just your feeling about going inside the MCG, the ground that as Victorians we love.
Yeah, I think it was a huge experience for me. I think coming from the country, being, from Ballarat, Dad used to take me and my two brothers down to the footy, and just being at the G was just the best thing ever for a young kid growing up. And then you spend a couple of times training there as a youngster, and you're in the indoor nets there, and this is cool, like I'm at the MCG. And then to walk out to play my first game there, it's a pretty awesome experience. There wasn't too many people there watching the Sheffield Shield, and it was a bit of an empty Coliseum kind of eerie feel about it, but just to walk out in the middle and you're around a bunch of Victorian and Australian superstars. It's like, gee, this is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, onto your BBL form. So the last 2 years, you've been back-to-back player of the tournament or the season, whatever you want to call it. And I think you broke the record last season for the most runs in a regular season as well. Just take us through your last couple of years, like the last 2 years of your form and how you've kind of risen up the ranks to be where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, it probably goes back, probably a couple of years before that. I was batting through the middle. I made the move to Adelaide and was batting through the middle and probably struggling a little bit. Didn't really, take off as much as I have at the top of the order. So I went to the coach at the time, Jason Gillespie, who's just resigned, unfortunately. But I went up to him and said, mate, I think I'm suited more at the top of the order. So he said, all right. Well, this was at the end of a couple of seasons ago, and he said, all right, we'll give you a crack. And sure enough, it's paid off, and I haven't looked back. So I just think my game's completely suited to batting at the top of the order, and I guess it's something that's paid off and something I'm really grateful for.
Could take us through that, because I don't know what Jason Gillespie's like as a bloke, whether he's chill, relax, fire and brimstone, whatever. But what is it like going up to a coach who's obviously also a cricketing legend and saying, like, I think I'd be better suited? Because those conversations are pretty tough, I imagine.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, he'd have a couple of bottles of red under him at the time.
So you were strategic about
how
he
did it. I got him a good time, I think. Made it a bit easier. But, no, he's very easygoing, very approachable. He's a real sort of facilitator. He facilitates teams really well. He's had some really good assistant coaches around him at the time over the years, in Cameron White and, Michael Divenuto, Tim Payne, Johan Bota. So, he's had some really good guys around him that have helped, not only his coaching, but the players as well.
Yeah, very good. So we speak about that, the being at the top of the order. This has to be a bit of an exciting time looking forward. We'll talk about selection and that, but I'm more looking ahead. Yourself, Fraser McGurk's another name that we're hearing a lot at the moment, doing some exciting things in the IPL. Obviously, we've got players like Dave Warner at the top of the order that are just the absolute twilight years. They're about to finish. It feels like that there is some exciting times ahead for Australian cricket, but there's also opportunity at the top of the order on the national team. How much do you have an eye on that? How much do you really look and go, okay, well, I can see that there's openings possibly coming up. Does that weigh in your mind, or is it more, I just get down, do my job, and if the opportunity comes, it comes?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I mean, it's really cliche when you say you always focus on yourself and, scoring runs and whatnot. But again, it is a timing thing. There's a lot of guys that have made mountains of runs and couldn't quite crack the Aussie side purely because there's guys that are smacking it before them. So, no, you're right. I've definitely thought about, an ageing list or Australian team at this stage. And, I guess all I can focus on now is keep performing and, hopefully I'm still making runs at the right time when the spots do open up.
Now, you would have played a domestic level or T20 in Big Bash with essentially against or with everybody in the Australian squad. There wouldn't be anyone you'd sort of miss?
Probably not. Right?
No, you probably would with the vast majority of them. So I'm going to ask straight off the bat then. T20 is just it's such an exciting form of the game. It is very new. It's so big on the world stage. Clearly, you're very good at that, and your ability to score quickly and just hit big sixes. It's
big Tommies.
Big Tommies. Great. And that there's plenty that have gone through that Adelaide Strikers team that like to do that, and there's a few. Who's not? I'm not, because at the end we're of course going to go through it. We'll go through your best. This. Who's the most exciting? Like if you're a footy fan. If you thought back in the day, Gary Ablett Senior. Yeah. Who do you being at the other end watching bat? Who did gave you? And I'm not saying that necessarily the technically best. Who was the most fun to just watch because you just didn't know it was going to happen or it was explosive? Who did you love being at the other end of?
Oh, look, I never batted with him, but Brad Hodge was probably one I loved watching.
Yeah, love watching.
Just took all bowlers, all around the park. Cameron White's another one who I mentioned before, who I did a lot of work with sort of growing up and with Victoria and Adelaide as well. But they obviously had really good white ball careers and they were probably probably a couple of mentors that I work with now, and I'm grateful for those two.
Yeah, and we obviously will talk about it because we've just spoken about the form that you're in. Back to back, best player in the league. Obviously, playing really well and in form, which clearly helps too. The decision, or the news that we woke to a few months ago that you weren't going to be part of the World Cup T20 squad. Firstly, how'd you take that? And then secondly, I've seen that you're now going to go as a backup player. So the first question is how'd you take it, and the second question is what's the plan going over there, being one of the squad members?
I was pretty disappointed, to be honest. I thought I'd had, as you mentioned, enough sort of runs and enough form behind me. Again, it's probably a timing thing. The feedback was they're really settled on their top order with, Davey Warner, Trav Head, and the captain, Mitch Marsh. So, that's fair enough. They're all got, mountains of runs behind them as well. So, disappointed not to be in the 15 in the end. But, as he said, heading over as a travelling reserve. So I'll be in the 16 or 17 now. So, just to be over there with Australia in a World Cup, it's going to be a really good experience, and one I can sort of hopefully use as a training sort of thing leading up into a couple of tournaments coming up afterwards.
Did they give you mentioned before they said that they're settled, but did they give you the actual feedback? Was it that you weren't quite ready, or was it more that you need way more evidence to go past these guys because they've been there for a while?
Yeah, no, they didn't mention anything that I hadn't done. It was more, you were really close. Sorry, you're stiff, mate, but yeah, we're quite settled on the top order, and you just missed out. So, you take the feedback and you move on, and hopefully better things around the corner.
I've always wondered this with selection. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different ways it can go, but I've always wondered around the level of communication. So, and I talk about when you're not in the squad. If you're in the squad and you're dropped, or if you're not going to play, I assume it's quite like if you were out of form and you weren't going to play for the Strikers or for Vic or something, you'd have a discussion with the coach. It'd be like, if you're not in the squad though, how is the communication level in the lead up to that? Is it just an announcement? Do you get a call before the announcement? Is there any consultation leading up to the announcement? Like, what's that process?
I think it varies, but I haven't been around the Australian setup for too long, but normally you get the call from one of the selectors, either Tony Doddermate or George Bailey, before the team comes out, saying whether you're in or you're not, and then a couple of reasons why. So I feel like, and then even the lead up, I think the communication's really good. They let you know where you are, and it's always just having that conversation, like how you going, how you feeling. And then, if you are struggling, they're like, all right, so what do you need to do? And the communication's really good. Even with the head coach, Ronnie McDonald, I had him for a couple of years here at Victoria. So I've got a good relationship with him, and he knows my game, and we know how each other work. And, the communication's really good.
That's good, because I like to hear that.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that there is no sports team in the country that has the level of ownership that the fans have that the Australian cricket team has. So it's the one team we all feel as fans we can have a say in. We all think we know who should bat at 6.
We think we know more than
we think all of that. Whereas footy, it's not the same, and you've all got your individual clubs. There's no code. It's not AFL NRL. There's no club. There's not 18 teams. People care to a level about their state, but that nobody really cares as long as the national team's doing well. So I always like to know.
I wouldn't mind a few more Victorians historically in the team. We spoke.
Oh no, that's a whole different story.
That's my gripe that I need to get over.
That's factual.
Yeah,
it has been for years.
Thank you. It is.
You are, if you're in New South Wales, Brad Hodge had 6 tests and finished with an average of 56, including a 200 against South Africa. Explain that to me.
I can't explain it.
So you want to talk about? I'm with you.
I just hope that this man doesn't get held the same. We don't want to hear another Brad Hodge scenario here.
No, we do not.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it's fair. I'm just saying. I think it is good to know that even if you're not in the squad at that stage, then the communication on the lead up, because they see you as somebody that's potentially going to play for Australia. I think that's good.
Yeah, 100%.
You like hearing the communication strong.
Interested to learn about the IPL. So you didn't play in this year, but you played last year. What is it like over there? Is it just completely nuts for a month or two?
Yeah, I got called up pretty late as a replacement for Johnny Bairstow at Punjab. He had that golf incident and broke his leg or whatever happened there. I'm not too sure.
Yeah. He's had a few silly incidents.
Slipped over, I think.
Stop walking, Johnny.
Yeah, stop walking,
Just
mate.
stop walking everywhere. Just stand still in your crease.
He was probably playing with Maxi, but...
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, mate, it was just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I was thrown in the deep end a little bit. Like, I'd only played, Big Bash and that's it. I hadn't played for Australia. I hadn't had any international experience. So, yeah, to play my first sort of overseas tournament in the IPL, the biggest T20 league, it's like walking into just a big bomb's going off and you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So I was pretty shell-shocked and that probably transformed onto the field, I guess. Okay. I was ready, but I think I was physically ready. Like I had the runs and stuff behind me, but probably mentally and, just to try and soak it all in, I probably struggled with that a little bit. So if I had my time again, I'd probably, be a lot more relaxed. And now I've got one under my belt, I can kind of know what to expect now. And just the whole chaos of it all and just people everywhere and the noise and stuff like that.
Do you get time away from, did you socialise at all, or was it pretty much just hotel to bus to venue? Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty full on. Not a whole lot of time off. I mean, India's not it's a nice place to tour in some cities, but, with the heat and the amount of travel you do, you sort of want to rest up and, it feels like you're in a bus getting escorted to the ground for training or games, and then if not, you're getting escorted to the airport or something like that. So it's pretty full on.
Because it's not. What do you play about 10 games in about 6 weeks or something like that, or is it? It's less than 6, isn't it?
I think it's 14. No, it's 14 about 8 weeks.
Oh, sorry.
It's definitely longer.
Getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
14. See, that's still big numbers. Isn't
what are the IPL spreads like? Is there any sort of plum chicken? Anything?
Nah, not quite. I mean, a lot of their local stuff over there, a lot of curries that some quite spicy.
I was going to say that'd be hard to play on, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so you got to sort of watch it. A lot of buffets that are sort of open in the air as well, and you're just like, how good's this to eat? Again, you take a lot of your bars and whatnot over there yourself.
I was going to say, it's like the Shane Warne, with the baked beans and all that.
You
don't want to get deli belly. You don't want to get deli belly.
You don't know how much that's true, but because Merv denies that all. He doesn't reckon exactly that happened because the Heinz.
As in he didn't bring the baked beans over there.
I think that they were sent, right? Excuse me, but it was like didn't SPC do it as
well? Are you saying it's more of a PR stunt than anything else?
I think it was a bit of that. I don't think they had a lot more than that, but
Well, Warney would have gone through a few cans. I would have thought of baked beans.
Why wouldn't you? Mate,
cans of what?
Well, true, and cans of beer.
Merv definitely then.
100%.
By the way, have you had the pleasure of meeting Merv Hughes, who's the
quite a few times,
the godfather of Victorian bowling? I like to call Merv. Well, be close too.
Yeah.
Who else sums up?
I just never heard it before.
No,
now you say it, I can't.
Mine. Love Merv. He's one of the greats.
He's good, big Merv. Yeah, he always pops his face in. I think Flem sort of runs a good sort of past players. I don't know what they call it, like a unity or some sort of past players thing. And we try and get together for golf days here and there. And Merv's always around.
They're both Flem's a cracker too. They're
great Victorians.
Mate, how good are Victorians?
I know.
When you actually think about how good the Victorian, there's so we could talk all day about it.
Who's your favourite Victorian?
Cricketer.
Yeah.
Dean Jones just ahead of Brad Hodge with the bat, and be Merv with the ball. Warney's just overall.
What about you growing up?
He's the king.
Growing up was Whitey.
Yeah.
To be honest, when I was younger, growing up, it was just like footy. I just love watching footy. Dad would take us boys down to Melbourne to watch footy. Like we didn't come down and watch a cricket much. Which was quite weird, and like the way it's turned out. I love watching Gilly and Matthew Hayden. Sort of, they're probably my earliest memories of watching cricket. Like they'd come and open the batting and smack them around. They had like the skins top Australian tops playing at the teacher, and they had the nicknames on the back.
That's right.
I remember when it started. It was epic. Footy team?
I'm Richmond.
Tiggs. Well, St Kilda, Hawthorn, we're all just in the shit. So we can all appreciate it. So you used to come down from Ballarat. So you would have played footy.
Played
Played good
growing
level
up,
footy,
yeah.
Ballarat. Great footy there. And then so you'd come down and watch the Tigers. So that would have been just as you were coming good, wouldn't it? When you were younger, or was it still?
Nah, we were horrible back in the day when we were coming down. Yeah, look, we stuck through. I was close a couple of times to changing teams as I got a little bit older, but Dad probably would have disowned me.
No, that's good. He's a good man.
I stuck true to the Tigers, and it paid off.
Did you go to the Grannies? Or at least two of the one was in Brisbane, but the two.
I went to the second one, the Giants.
Yeah.
Oh, that was an easy watch.
Yeah. over at half time.
We were there, Simon and I were there. Yeah, it was literally.
there.
It was one of those ones where you're just going, could there be an upset in the Norm Smith for like 3 quarters? Cause,
Yeah.
Because remember you just were inaccurate in the first quarter, and it was like,
they kicked the first goal.
Yeah,
Jeremy
and
Cameron,
then
after
Richmond
that-
were just inaccurate. They weren't making, and so they are just so on top here.
Yeah.
All they got to do is hit the scoreboard. This is over.
Yeah.
And then it was just saying, Can Pickett win there? It was like, can
That's
Martin Pickett
right,
actually
yeah.
win the Norm Smith here? And then Dusty just did everything Dusty does. And
Can you?
What about-
There you go.
I was going to say, what about footy? Who was your hero idol growing up?
I used to love watching Mark Coughlin.
Mark Cogs.
So did I.
And my brothers loved him, especially my older brother as well. He was just a gun, and then I think he had a couple of knee recos.
I was there. He played Hawthorn
very
in
unlucky.
Tassie when he did one of them, and I was there. And we went down for it. And
I feel like
it was
his career ended, a lot sooner than it should have, and he was just a gun.
wasn't he? He was a superstar player. I love Cog.
Yeah, there was some good players in that Richmond era. They just couldn't quite, like they had, fits and starts, right?
Oh,
Like,
mate, yeah. Batman
Obviously,
Robin with Brownie and Richo. That was a great little period, but it was very
that was
much
good.
short-lived.
Of course, Adam Patterson, friend of the podcast
Friend of
as
the
well,
podcast,
was in it. But look, away from sport, the sporting life, you were recently engaged to Maddie, who's an Olympic swimmer, and then also got a baby on the way. A baby boy or
Little
girl?
boy, yeah.
And obviously there'll be I assume some fighting around which sport the boy will play. Because swimming, there's some good money to be made there as well, I assume.
Yeah, at times. Look, I always joke to Mads about maybe steering clear of cricket and swimming, and we both love the beach, so maybe go off and be a surfer or something. We'll just chill on the beach and watch you while you're out catching a few waves, and away you go.
Be a good world tour to go and follow them too, wouldn't you?
would.
Popping to Hawaii.
That and golf would be the two, I reckon. Because it depends, obviously.
Golf, tennis, surfing.
Yeah.
Tennis would be good as well.
Tennis would be good.
Tennis is basic. It's summer. Like it follows golf. Like that would be
Golf could be an option.
golf or tennis.
Yeah, probably golf. I can relate to golf a bit more.
Do you play golf?
A little bit, yeah, not too much, but
I can imagine you'd hit it pretty cleanly, though.
yeah, here, there, and
Creativity,
everywhere.
As long as you can hit it cleanly, that's all that matters. As long as it sounds good, who cares, really?
Yeah, it's all about sound.
Well, yeah, I mean, you and I are both terrible, aren't we? Will?
No good. And can't hit it very fast, so it's just a horrible combination.
It is bad.
Easier to find though when you hit it like I do because it just don't go very far.
I'm a left-hander, I have a vicious slice. It's almost like I hit a cover drive every time I try and hit it off the tee. It just fucking goes like that. It's ridiculous.
Mike Hussey style.
It is, except I don't look anywhere near as technical as Mike Hussey's. We have had other cricketers on the pod. We had Seb Gotch on as well, another Victorian, and he had some larger than life tales. Not about himself; they were all about his teammates. To be fair, there was a lot of Pato stuff. And you would have played with Pato.
Yeah.
We wouldn't mind a few good sort of stories out of it. It doesn't have to be Pato related, but whether it be on the circuit perhaps, or even just sledging
on the park,
on the park as well.
Yeah. Probably I can think of a more recent time. It's probably happening now, to be fair. Yeah. There's a group of young boys, there's probably 8 or 9 of them that have just got back from Bali.
Yep.
They spent, 7 days there on their annual Bali, end of season piss up trip, and they probably got back about a month ago, and they've been on this cleanse because they've got the guilts on of going 7 days on the piss, and so they're going on a cleanse. They haven't drank for a month, and they're doing these Wim Hof bloody hot colds and steam rooms in the
they really
out in the bay. So they're like, they're probably getting into it. Yeah, so that's probably one I can think of off the top of my head.
How's the to go from one extreme to the others? Because we're obviously off. We're today.
Yeah.
We're on the 0.0. We're having Guinness, which is just extraordinary.
It is. This is one of the weirdest things I've done.
This is the fact
It's
that
up there.
Guinness make a zero alcohol. So it's people going, I'm going to get through Guinness, and on top of that, I'm not going to get pissed while I'm doing it.
Matt's probably seen like clips of like us drinking Carlton drafts and whatever else. And the one time we bring him in here, we're drinking Guinness
There you go.
Zeros, and he's got to drink it.
Should
as
have
well.
come in next month.
How is it? Are you in?
Oh, look, I've probably had about 3 pints of Guinness in my life.
Okay.
This would be the worst.
Yeah, this is probably the last thing I'd choose.
It's not as heavy as not clearly because
No,
that's
no,
almost
okay.
better, right? Because normally it's a meal in itself.
I don't know. It's just won't be getting another run. None of them will be after this month. But look, the fact is, but we haven't got the other things. What did you say? They're into like the herbal stuff as well. This is like they're not just having a break from alcohol. They're doing everything.
I wouldn't say herbal stuff, but I don't think they've gone vegan, but I think they're still eating meat. But
Oh wow.
no, you know the Wim Hof kind of.
Isn't that the breathing?
Yeah, a bit of breathing, but like the hot colds and the
yeah.
saunas and
I've done that a couple of times, but with no really.
What is it called? Wing pop.
No, Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
Yeah.
He's some, what is he?
Kano's laughing like I'm meant to know what it is.
He's some professor that he thinks.
Oh, it's a guy.
Yeah,
he's
it's not all breathing. I think it's all related to your breathing,
Yeah, and
maybe.
all this mindset stuff. So having a cold shower every morning sort of gets
I've
gets
heard
your
of this.
endorphins running. And
Yep.
Have you tried any of this stuff?
a little bit. It's probably more recovery based, but
Yeah.
I haven't sort of done the cold showers and
Hey,
trying to get better sleep and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
cold showers, if you've actually, it's so much easier to jump into an ice bath because you jump in, you get out. A cold shower is so much worse, even though it's not covering your whole body. I don't know what it is,
I
but
agree.
like you've got to go in bit by bit. A cold shower is so much worse than an ice bath.
I don't know if I agree. I was going to say, I don't know if I agree because I feel like the cold shower, I get used to it eventually. The ice bath, it doesn't matter how long you're in that thing for.
You might get used to a room temperature or a lukewarm shower. If you have an actual ice cold shower, it is horrible. And people, I reckon that halftime people say they have them, they're bullshitting.
Yeah,
I
probably.
have a cold shower in the morning. I'm thinking, no, you don't, mate. I just don't think they do.
Yeah, that is fair.
Cold showers are horrible. Good on them for coming back and just having it. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Just get stuck in.
I think they just had the proper guilt on. Like it must have been they must have had a crack.
proper tilt.
Yeah, a week on it over in Bowley, and they've come back and like, shit, like I'm not feeling so good. I need to sort this out before pre-season starts.
Wow. have you got any like cricketing superstitions, or do you just go out there and just hit the ball?
Nah, I mean I've said it before. I'm pretty chilled out.
Yeah.
I think, no offense, but I think people that are superstitious sort of a little bit,
Yeah.
something going on up there. I think it's a bit of a waste of energy, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you're focused on all that stuff, putting your right pad on first and then your left, or
Yeah.
just shit like that, it's just too much. I reckon just get your gear on and away you go. Focus on what you need to focus on.
reckon.
Well, yeah, but the other thing is, it's kind of like there's things which are voluntary and involuntary. I don't know how much Steve Smith stuff. A lot of it, like Rafa Nadal and that'd be involuntary. It just happens, right? But the thing is that when you term that
It's a certain amount of taps.
But
Like
yeah,
it's like
I know.
like,
Steve
it's
might
like,
be a bit
it's like
different, but
25 before the
thing
ball's
is,
involved.
It's you're just giving yourself another reason that something could go wrong because you're almost like I didn't do it, and then you're thinking about it. You're just giving yourself. And it's another one that I call BS. Like people go, I put this pad there, and I'm like, do you?
Yeah.
Do you actually remember? Like you might have done it once, like in your 80th game or your 17th innings or something, and then you had some runs, and you go, I'll just keep doing it. I don't know.
And then you get a duck the next time.
And this thing, I think people come up with them
else.
just for the sake of having them and go, oh, this is what I do beforehand and that.
Yeah, I agree. Who's the funniest player in the Victorian dressing room right now?
Funniest player. I'd probably say Marcus Harris.
Oh, really?
Harry?
Yeah, I don't know. He's just like dry. He's got that dry humour, and he's real. He's pretty brutal. Like he's got brutal honesty.
Really? I would have thought.
So if you're wearing something stupid to training, you're like you know about it. Like he's straight India.
Really? And has he delivered it just in a very kind of like circumspect kind of manner, or is he?
Yeah, he's just as soon as he says like it's not like, hey mate, how you going? Like, what have you been up to? He's like, what the fuck is that? Like, why let us be on here? He's like, straight to the point. Like, mate, what are those shoes?
Wow.
Good to see you too, mate.
Far, yeah. And does that translate to on the field? Like, is he getting into the batters?
Yeah, is he yappy?
No, not
Really?
at all. Just his teammate. He's no.
I like that. That's us. We always played in the park. We really give up. We just used to give each other shit.
Yeah,
He's one that can
fun.
dish it out and just cannot handle it if he gets it back.
Oh, I've got a Marcus Harris story.
He's got a Marcus Harris story.
I've got a Harris story from the 2019 Ashes series, and what you just said then, I can verify that. So we were there. We were over there in Birmingham after we won the first Ashes, and we were chatting. A couple of players were messaging on Insta because we were getting into the. Well, there was not a lot of Aussies there. Like, we were flying the flag pretty aggressively
100%.
in the crowd, and they saw it and they got it around us. And anyway, so we go, I'll catch up later. So we went to this bar and Travie Head and Gaz and Tim Payne, all that. There. So we ended up, and then so we're chatting with them, and they go, oh, we're gonna go up to the upstairs where it's away from people come up and all that. So we're having a few beers with all of them, and Marcus Harris comes up and Hammy. Very, very quick, Hammy. Very, very quick with the wit. He's standing there, and Marcus, he goes, and then I believe it was Travie and Tim Payne's brother Nick, who's a legend. We spent a heap of time with him on tour when we were over there, but he was like, goes, oh, these guys, blah, blah. And Marcus goes, oh yeah, cool. So you guys are just able to come over here and drink piss and hang around and watch cricket. And Hammy goes, yeah. Just like you, mate. What did he say? He like it. He went back to the room. He told us he was going back to the room and change his shoes. On the way to the walkabout, and he didn't come back.
Oh, wow.
So
that is...
It was, Hammy just delivered that one. It was absolutely brilliant. But it was obviously in jest, and then Travie loved it. And
absolutely.
Yeah, very, very good. But... yeah, so I can
vouch for Marcus.
I can vouch for him, maybe not like him, yeah.
What about just in the strikers change room then? Anyone who's obviously it's a bit of a random mix, right? You've got Australians, you've got international players from all different states. Who's the funniest player or the most random player you've played with in the BBL?
I'd say Wesley Agar and Jake Weatherall together. Together. They're a bit left of centre. They're always they're a bit rarer than the usual. Like, they're always putting some shit music on and might be a couple of nude dances and stuff around the change rooms. Like, I'm just sort of sitting in the corner with a couple of the boys. Like, what are they doing? Like, each their own. Like, let them go. Harry Conway's a good one.
He always had a weird sort of hair, didn't he? Like the shaved.
Oh, he's had a few. Yeah. He's had it bleached blonde for a little bit, I reckon. But no, he's always been a good one. Whenever there's a milestone game, they always get Big H to give the cap out. They might be a 50 game.
Yep.
You played 50 games for strikers, and here's Harry to do the speech. And this speech would literally go and we go back to talking about warm ups. Like, people just want to get on with it. Go get changed and get on with the game. And Harry's speech for this 50 game cap, it goes for 5 minutes. Like,
my God. What is he saying?
Got the notes. Like, he's spent 2 days searching where you come from, who your family are.
Well, so he actually takes it seriously.
Yeah, I think it's taking the piss, but that's just H. Everything's serious with him.
Funny.
It's
you'd understand that test.
But
it's good stuff though. It's maybe not for a 50 game BBL.
No, I wouldn't have thought. Yeah,
it's funny. It gets the boys up and about.
100%. Any chance? I mean, you're the captain, obviously, but any chance of us getting you back to Victoria to play for the Stars or anything we could do? We are Stars.
We could use you.
Well, yeah, we are Stars fans.
Yeah, we are. We are indeed big Stars fans.
What would we be able to do?
We've tried a few times.
Okay.
I started at the Renegades.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I think I played 6 games in 4 seasons.
Yep. Not a lot.
No, not much, but look, everything's going pretty well at Adelaide, so I can't really see myself moving anytime soon.
Oh, look, we tried.
Sorry.
We did. We didn't try that hard because we love Adelaide.
Yeah, I like Adelaide.
We're big Adelaide fans. Just after the last 2 gather rounds, we've converted.
I think you'd want to hear that you're Strikers fans, not fans of the city of Adelaide, though.
Yeah, but
I don't think he cares about that.
He doesn't want to turncoat.
He plays there for 6 weeks and then pisses out of the state. I don't think he gives a shit about Adelaide.
But it's the perfect amount of time. to have a small amount of time in Adelaide and not live there the entire time. We do like the strikers because obviously, including your good self, mate, there's been a lot of players that have played for the strikers that we do like.
Yeah, heaps.
But the thing is that we are Stars fans, Simon.
So Walley did a pump up for the Stars, a pre-game.
Pre-match. We turned around their semi-final run. It was that semi-final a couple of years ago a few years ago now.
Would you look at bringing him in to do a strikers pre-match?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, is it similar? I think I saw a video recently of Dave Hughes back in the day going into footy clubs and giving them the spray.
Yeah, that didn't work that well, did it, the Dave Hughes one?
No, I only seen a couple. So.
I reckon it backfired.
Yeah, well,
our one was very well received,
and
then they went and put 220 points on them. 220 runs.
220 points, you reckon?
But it was what they won. I was thinking about footy. 220 runs on them, I think it was. Stoin went absolutely boo-na-nas, and then they won. They won convincingly in the semi to get them into the final.
So what was a pre-game pep talk?
It was a pre-game pep talk. We just myself, Hammy, Rambo, just a few of the grubs went in there and we had a chat to them.
Who arranged it? Was it Maxi?
Yeah, Maxi organised it. Maxi contacted Hammy, I believe, to say, look, we need to try something different before. We want to go in and we want to be a little bit lighthearted. And it worked. It did the trick, Simon. Happy to do it, obviously. But I'll tell you right now, they went out very relaxed, smiles on their faces. It was a mini roast, if you like, of each of the players. So it was very tasteful and classy.
Okay.
And
better than Harry Conway's speech, I would have thought, maybe.
Well, no, it sounds like Harry's are good. It just might the timing of them's interesting.
Yeah.
Like on the pitch before they're about to try and play.
Yeah, no, we'll get you in.
Yep.
If you have a game in Melbourne, maybe, just to save you. Oh, you like Adelaide? So
no, I'll come over, mate. We'll come over and I'll come in hot. I'll go to a long lunch at Golden Boy as I like to over there, Simon, first. But we'll definitely come over.
What about yourself on the field? Are you like, because obviously you're captain, so you're thinking about the changes in the field, you're thinking about bowling moves and all that, but are you getting into your opposition players as well? Or how are you out there in the field?
No, excuse me, I don't feel like there's enough time. Like I feel like, actually the first game I was captain this year was, excuse me, first game I was captain this year, I was mic'd up.
Yeah.
And
so you can't say anything.
The commentators are like, they come to you every sort of 5 or so overs and each time they come to you, like you're trying to set the field, or I might have been bowling, or, you know, talk to the bowler, and I just couldn't do so many things at once. So I was like, I'm not doing that again. So
really?
No, so no time for the mic, no time to talk to the opposition batters or anything. It's more, it just feels so quick, and you just need to be on.
Yeah, it is pretty invasive. Some of the ones that have probably done it a few more times than you have sort of managed, but they're out in the field and then they'll go, hang on a second, and then they'll scream, you know, come in here, and then they go back to Howie in the box or whatever. But it is tough.
I liked as an example, I liked it when they had like a Warnie doing it, and they had the Warnie, and he was obviously there. He was well into the twilight of his career, but he would talk through, and because he was so comfortable doing it, and he'd done everything, he'd achieved everything. And so Warnie's obviously in a very different position, and he was talking through, this is what I'm going to do with this ball.
Yeah,
and he was doing it, which is crazy as well. So it's not only really, really cool to watch, but like, it's not going to affect him. Hodgie, you've seen do it a number of times. Matty Wade, I think, has done it. Like, he's fine with it. But I think the amount of times they get the skipper to do it, I think it's weird. Like, surely just get somebody that you know is going to bowl a couple of overs and then hang out on the boundary so they can actually chat to you, see what's going on, and then let the skipper do his job.
Walley, other than Matt, who would you mic up in the BBL at the moment?
Who would I mic up in the BBL at the moment? I would. Well, after what you were saying about Weatherall and Agar, I wouldn't mind micing them up to get a little bit of that
together.
Who would I mic up in the BBL? Oh, mate, I wouldn't.
It's tough.
Okay, I would say Maxi's too obvious. No, do you know what I liked during a game? I'd like to mic up is the big Stoin. I'd like to hear more from him because I just don't think we hear enough, and I love the guy.
He doesn't. You don't hear from
him.
No,
that's my point. So it'd be like,
Would he offer much?
I think it's hard sometimes with the bowlers, like, because it's a fair like sort of backpack looking thing they strap on your back.
Oh, is it?
Big like battery pack, and there's bloody wires going around.
That can't be him.
Yeah, it's too hard for bowlers. So I think it's normally a batter that does it that doesn't bowl, just sits out in the boundary.
Yeah,
they can go on whenever they want. And
I think Chris Lynn was always all right at it.
He's
good.
Linny was good.
He was always pretty good with what he said. But yeah, it's a really good question, Kane. I mean, I feel like I'm a bit out of it. but James Pattinson would have been great when he was playing. Pat, I'm sure again, Bowler probably can't do it, but he would have been part
Gotcha
of
would
it.
have been good based on his stories.
Pato would have been too busy sledging.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, he loves that.
No way you get him on the.
This is
on
it.
the
This is
mic.
what we keep hearing. This consistent theme about him, just not only like steamrolling in and just. Did you face? You would have faced him at club cricket, I assume.
Yeah, a few times in the
Scary?
nets and everything. He keeps it pretty tame in the nets.
Okay.
Can carry on at times, but once he sort of crosses the line into a match, he's a different bloke.
I can't fathom him.
Who's the most intimidating bowler you've faced?
He'd be one. I don't know. Like nowadays, everyone's really nice compared to some of the
Yeah.
stories you hear back.
What
in the
about just in terms of speed and just their ability? So no less intimidating than person. Like there's not a lot of Lillys and Thompsons
Yeah.
going around.
Yeah, I know.
Now, but like in terms of just
I mean,
like
Scotty Boland's the one these days. I just feel like every ball's just aim for your cock. I mean,
yeah. He just puts
just the way
his
he doesn't-
placement's incredible.
Yeah, he's doesn't overly swing it much, but he just nips them both ways, and you're like, all right, this one's got my name on it.
It's bloody hard, isn't it?
Yeah, when you know your name's on the whiteboard, and you're like, all right, I'm facing Bazza today. You double up on the box.
Yeah,
good to know.
Absolutely,
yeah. And they call him Bazza, do they? Is that
Bazza? Yeah, Scotty Boland barrel.
Yeah,
just big
okay.
barrel
Yeah.
chest. Baz. Yeah.
He's sounds like a very old school kind of cricketer, doesn't
He
he?
would be.
Yeah.
That was
100%.
still incredible. Can we just that was it'd be weird to not mention when his test debut on Boxing Day.
Yeah, I was there.
insanity.
It was
yeah,
unbelievable.
it was 6 wickets in.
Yeah, it was about like 6 for 2 or something.
Yeah, it was something 6 for 8.
6 for 8. Sorry, yeah.
In like 8 overs or so. It was something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous.
It was genuine
and
man.
just kind of I can imagine that. And that's the thing is you're not able to do that unless you're putting the ball in the right spot a lot.
100%. Look, mate, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate your time. Obviously, you've got when you go to the T20 World Cup. When's that?
In a couple of weeks, early June.
And so West Indies in the US. Is that?
West Indies, World Cup, and then the American League, and then the 100 in the UK.
Yeah, wow, that looks like a pretty stacked cricket schedule. Look, I'm going to say it. You don't have to say it, Matt, but hopefully someone gets injured. Hopefully it's David Warner. And you can
hopefully
get
it's not
in.
Travis.
No, because top of the order.
Top of the order, we want it. We know
Not
who
that
we want it to be. Or maybe we just realise halfway through that it's time to move on and we move away from
but it
him.
has to be an injury though, right? If someone's out of form, you're just they
Has
can't.
to be an injury, I think. Yeah,
They
you're
could
right.
fake it. Has that ever happened?
Surely in the history of cricket,
Maybe.
they've gone, look, mate, you're not looking great. Like, you've just hammy.
Yeah.
You push anyone down the stairs? Or
Yeah,
no?
I might get a couple of beers in and go play a round of golf. That seems the
That's
way to
what
do it.
you do. Fall off the golf cart and see what happens. But look, in all seriousness, mate, all the best. Thanks for coming on, being as generous as you were with your time. Good luck for the wedding, the new baby boy, and bloody cricket. There's heaps going on. Thank you.
Thanks,
Cheers,
lads.
mate.
Cheers.
Awesome. And Wally, well done as well, mate. Great to have you on again. And I don't know why I said that. You're on every week. And I don't know who to say. I don't know who to say this because I said go Saints and then I said go Hawks.
Yeah,
and
you can go back to this.
Oh, go Saints.
Go Hawks.
Begrudgingly.